I'd like to call the Mentor City Council regular meeting September 5th, 2023 to order. The invocation will be given by Councilperson Krieger.
Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for this day. Help us to use good judgment for the business at hand and guide us in wisdom with a continuing sense of truth and fairness for the community we represent.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Krieger.
Here.
Mr. Marne.
Here.
Mr. Blake.
Here.
Mr. Donovan.
Here.
Mrs. Dowling. Here. Mr. Freeman.
Here.
Mr. Kirchner.
Here. Council, you're in receipt of the August 15, 2023 regular meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Krieger.
Yes.
Mr. Marne.
Yes.
Mr. Blake.
Yes.
Mr. Donovan.
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling.
Yes.
Mr. Freeman.
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner.
Yes. Public hearings, we have none. Tabled legislation, we have none. New legislation, ordinance number 23-0-070.
An ordinance to authorize transfers of funds, advances of funds, and revisions to appropriations and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Filipiak.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Malinowski, please.
Thank you, Mr. Filipiak, members of council. This ordinance authorizes three different things. Firstly, a permanent cash transfer out of the city's general fund to fund the payroll stabilization fund that represents severance payments. The second item is a temporary cash advance, a little over $1 million, to fund both capital project funds and our senior levy fund. And thirdly, Section 3 authorizes several appropriation revisions for all of the above, and in addition to that, some items for maintenance at the new rec center, which is just about done, and some engineering costs on subsequent legislation. I would recommend approval. Thank you.
Council.
Move to suspend.
Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Krieger.
Yes.
Mr. Marne.
Yes.
Mr. Blake.
Yes.
Mr. Donovan.
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling.
Yes.
Mr. Freeman.
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner.
Yes. Move to approve.
Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Krieger.
Yes.
Mr. Marne.
Yes.
Mr. Blake.
Yes.
Mr. Donovan.
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling.
Yes.
Mr. Freeman.
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner.
Yes. Ordinance number 23-0-070 is approved. Ordinance number 23-0-071.
An ordinance accepting and awarding a design-build contract to Davy Resource Group, Inc. for the Norton Estate Stream Restoration Project and declaring an emergency.
Filipiak.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of council, this is actually a project that's on private property. The city is essentially a pass-through for this. Most of the work will be conducted through the Lake County Soil and Water Group. 100% of that is paid for, so no city funds will be going into this. Mr. Swigger, you want to tell about the project?
Thank you, Mr. Filipiak. One proposal was received on Friday, May 22nd for the Norton Estate Stream Restoration Project. Project is completely funded by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency Great Lakes Restoration Initiative Non-Point Source Program. Grant project period ends on April 14th, 2025, and the total project cost is $382,000. Based upon a review by the City of Mentor and our valuable partners, the Chagrin River Watershed Partners, Lake County Soil and Water Conservation District, Davy Resource Group was selected for the design-build contract. All partners were involved in the selection and evaluation of the candidate. The Davy Resource Group design-build contract will be for the reconstruction of 290 linear feet of stream channel, creation of 0.25 acres of wetlands in the former dam pool area, and restoration of 590 linear feet of stream channel. Project will restore riparian habitat, improve water quality, reduce sedimentation, and improve aquatic habitat. The criteria used to select Davy Resource Group included technical approach, experience, and depth deliverables, key personnel, project coordination, and past performance. All partners reached the unanimous decision that Davy Resource Group, based on these criteria, was a proper selection. It is therefore recommended the contract be awarded to Davy Resource Group out of Kent, Ohio for the design-build contract totaling $366,000. I would say that the point of interest that generated the project was the removal of a dam just north of Norton Parkway that was originally on the Norton Estate and was basically created a recreational pool area. Thank you.
Council.
Move to suspend.
Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr.
Excuse me.
Kirschner?
Yes. Move to approve.
Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirschner?
Yes. Ordinance number 23-0-071 is approved. Ordinance number 23-0-072.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a professional services contract with Smith Group Architects and Landscape Architects, PLLC, for the Menor Lagoons Nature Preserve Shoreline Master Plan and declaring an emergency.
Filipiak.
Mr. President. So, council, we're pleased to be able to bring you this ordinance. Essentially, we're taking a proactive approach to try to find the best way to protect our shoreline at the Nature Preserve lagoons. I'll let Mr. Swigger tell you a little bit about the project, but essentially what this will do is get us to a master plan from which we will identify the best approach to making an improvement that will protect our shoreline. It will also look at options for recreational enhancements there that would allow for our public ultimately to be able to potentially use the area and have public access to it, and also best prepare us to be able to identify funding sources and access those. So without taking these planning steps, we're really have been and continue to be at a huge disadvantage to try to either get agency support for approval of any type of a project, as well as be in line for funding sources. So I think this is a good major step for us, considering where we have been, and as many council members have participated in efforts to try to secure funding for shoreline protection. I think this is going to put us in a much better position. Mr. Swigger, you want to expand on that, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Filipiak. Due to the ongoing and severe erosion taking place along the Lake Erie shoreline within the Menor Lagoons Nature Preserve, the city is seeking assistance from Smith Group to help develop a plan to address and stem the erosion taking place along the shoreline within the Nature Preserve. The proposal provided by Smith Group is made up of three parts: coastal engineering and basis of design assessment and analysis, project surveys, which they will be subcontracting CT consultants for the upland and in-water surveys, and the shoreline master plan. City's also asking Smith Group to explore public access improvements and incorporate them where possible in conceptual alternatives. Smith Group will also be reviewing environmental permitting requirements and funding opportunities associated with shoreline projects of this type. Conceptual design alternatives will incorporate ways to help lower permitting hurdles while at the same time maximize funding opportunities for these activities. Development of the master plan is expected to take approximately 7 months to complete. Smith Group is proposing a lump sum fixed fee contract fee of $149,888. It's recommended that the agreement be entered into with Smith Group to develop the Menor Lagoons Nature Preserve Shoreline Master Plan. Smith Group and their personnel have extensive experience with shoreline protection and access projects within the Great Lakes region, and they are qualified to help us develop this plan. I did want to mention a few projects that they've been involved with in the Lake Erie, Cleveland region, and that's either in construction or in planning of projects. The Euclid Coastal Analysis, Shoreline Protection and Waterfront Access Project, they were instrumental in involved with. Edgewater Marina renovation, Rocky River Broad Street Landing Pier renovation and shoreline improvements, and the Euclid Beach Shoreline Protection and Trail Study. Thank you.
Mr. Swigger, I got a question. How many footage or mileage are we looking at to protect that lagoon? Do you have an idea of what we need to?
Well, it's a little over 6,000 feet. Originally,
1,000 feet?
a little over 6,000 feet of shoreline we do own as part of the nature preserve.
Okay.
Originally, we were scoping about half of that, but recent erosion has extended down the shoreline, so it's probably going to involve the entire length, 6,000.
Thank you, sir. Counsel?
Move to suspend. Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirschner?
Yes. Move to approve.
Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes. Ordinance number 23-0-072 is approved. Ordinance number 23-0-073.
An ordinance amending Section 505.12 of the codified ordinances of the City of Mentor 2006 as amended by replacing Division A8 relating to the first deer to be harvested in season and declaring an emergency.
Filipiak.
Thank you, Mr. President. So, members of council, this is a relatively minor change to your ordinance regarding hunting in the city. When you will recall that when we worked through this section of the code with council, we were working very closely with the Department of Natural Resources and following their recommended guidelines on how to start a program to get us down to maintenance level, which is where we are today. At the time, hunting, the requirement to provide the first deer be an antlerless deer was to lower the population as quickly as possible within the community. We've done that. We have been at maintenance level for several years, and we're finding now that the antlered deer in our community actually represent a disproportionately high number. So again, at the recommendation of ODNR, we would be eliminating that prohibition and allowing for the first animal to be taken to not be distinguished. So we ask for your support on that. And also, I would just point out that if the makeup of our deer herd should change over the years, they would advise us and we could make a change down the road if necessary. In fact, we could manage this very easily just through the permitting process without legislation, to be fair.
Council.
Move to suspend.
Second. Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes. Move to approve.
Second. Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes. Ordinance number 23-0-073 is approved. We have a resolution, number 23-R-112.
Resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Filipiak.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Malinowski, please.
Thank you, Mr. Filipiak. Members of council, this resolution is the final step in certifying our tax rates for collection year 2024 with the county auditor's office. This represents a little over 7 million, actually about $7.3 million of annual revenue to various funds. And there is a shift of about 0.5 mils from the bond retirement fund over to our general fund in this submission. I would recommend approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Council.
Move to suspend.
Second. Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes. Move to approve.
Second. Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Resolution number 23-R-112 is approved. We have another resolution, number 23-R-113.
A resolution declaring a submerged land lease located adjacent to permanent parcel number 16D117C0002220 does not interfere with municipal coastal improvements or plans within the city of Mentor, Lake County, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Filipiak.
Thank you, Mr. President. Council, you've seen a few of these in recent years. In order for the Department of Natural Resources to issue a submerged land lease, it must gain approval from the local jurisdiction after having reviewed the improvement to determine whether or not it interferes with any future or present public improvements. We've done that in this case. The project is at 9325 Headlands Road. There is no interference in our opinion. I'll also point out that the property owners here are engaging in the process of participating through the Special Improvement District that the city and all other Lake County communities along the shoreline are part of.
Thank you, sir. Council.
Move to suspend.
Second. Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes. Move to approve.
Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Resolution number 23-R-113 is approved. We have another resolution, number 23-R-114.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to prepare and submit an H2 Ohio grant application to ODNR for the Marsh Creek Tributary Stream Restoration Project and declaring an emergency.
Filipiak.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to give our grants manager, Mr. Grippi, a chance to address this if. You need to be at the podium.
What's he doing?
Thank you, Mr. Filipiak, and thank you for Chief Gunch for giving up his seat. This is a $230,000 grant application. It's a 100% grant application to Ohio Department of Natural Resources, and we're going to restore the stream going through the golf course to prevent the flow of nutrients and phosphorus into Lake Erie and sort of curb the incidence of algae in the marsh and in Lake Erie. We also hopefully will prevent future flooding at the golf course with this.
That's it, thank you.
That's it.
Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes. Move to approve.
Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Resolution number 23-R-114 is adopted. Second readings, we have none. Third readings, we have none. Managers report. Filipiak.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of council. Council, we have one pavement open cut request. It is for the crossing both lanes of Broadmoor Road. The request is from Davis Diggers to install a new water service line at 8090 Broadmoor for the Lake County Board of Developmental Disabilities at Broadmoor School. This is actually a pretty significant open cut. It will take place on a Sunday morning through discussions with them. They've already attempted to bore this line once and have just run into too many utilities. So in order to not disrupt other services, the engineering department has approved this, if council does as well. So ask for
Council?
your approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Thank you, Council. Council milling is scheduled to begin the week of September 18th for the Heisley Road resurfacing project. All milling and paving work will occur at night, weather dependent. Certain work items, such as casting adjustments, will happen during the day. Traffic will be restricted at various times in those instances to one lane in each direction. Public Works Department is continuing to do storm debris cleanup around the city. We've had 3 crews working since the day of the event, and we will continue to do so through next weekend, September 17th. So we'll have that information on our website, give it all of this week and all of next week through the weekend, and we remind residents that branches cannot exceed 6 inches in diameter. Those efforts, by the way, have been going very well around town, and our residents have been very, very good about getting to that work right away, so they've been very busy. In response to the recent tornado, the Lake County EMA has agreed to conduct a seminar sometime in February, and we haven't established a date on that yet, at the Mentor Senior Center to help our residents understand best practices during major storm events, as well as explain how the siren system functions and the benefits of the WEN system in order to help encourage sign-ups. We'll be taping that and then re-showing that on the Mentor channel, of course, in order to get more of our general public as well as the senior community involved in understanding the benefits of the systems that exist. Wildwood Cultural Center trails are still closed and will remain so probably throughout this week as we continue to clear trees and large branches as a result of the storm so we can ensure safe passage there. Also, residents will have one more chance to see a concert at the amphitheater. The city is partnering with the Humane Society to bring the Rescue Rock-Off to our facility on September 9th. This is a ticketed event that runs from 4 to 9 p.m., and it features opening acts followed by the Country Legends Tribute from 6:15 to 9 p.m. Information is available on their website for ticketing, and a portion of those proceeds, in fact, the bulk of those proceeds, will go to support the rescue animals at the society. And then, council, our final major improvement at the rec center has just been completed. The basketball courts have been poured and painted. They're in the curing stage right now, but shortly they'll be open for usage. With that completion, that's really it for the major improvements there. We would like to schedule an official ribbon cutting with that, so we'll be working with the clerk of council to establish a date for that that's convenient for you. And then finally, council, we have a few new businesses to announce. Very excited about Goodman Air Conditioning and Heating, which is a division of the Dakin Group. They will be opening here at 9525 Hamilton Road, which is a new facility. I'm not sure if I'm saying this correctly. It's either Amir Vapes or AMIR Vapes, but it's at 7501 Menor Avenue. And Lucy's Laser and Med Spa at 8806 Menor Avenue. So we greatly thank them for their investment in the community and wish them great success going forward. That's all.
Thank you, sir. I just want to mention Chief Searles and Gunch, thank you for all your service through the tornado. That was incredible work you guys all did, and our rec guys and our street guys, and everybody did a great job through that. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Mr. Martin.
also congratulations to each department head and their staff. I mean, this summer's truly been amazing with the amount of events that we have going on, you know, whether it's City Fest or Beach Fest or a concert at the amphitheater every Tuesday night. There's a lot goes on there, all from different departments, especially the rec department, fire and police there every week. It's a great lineup, had a great time, and people are still talking about it. I already got about 50 ideas for bands for next year from different people there. So we'll try to please everybody.
Thank you, Councilman.
What was your personal favorite?
This year,
Yeah.
I think the Bob Seger
Me
tribute
too.
probably.
Yeah,
it was
10
great.
10-person band, all live. That was neat. That was pretty
that
neat.
was
You
a
don't
good
see
one.
something like that anymore.
Thank you. Clerk's correspondence.
Nothing to report.
Nothing. Commissioner committee reports. Council in receipt of the Tree Commission, July 11, 2023. Municipal Planning Commission, July 27, 2023. Old business. New business. Before we get into that, I want to say something about one of our local boys who plays football, went to Notre Dame, the big one. And I asked Lauren Vernon to send me a picture or a video of his son if he got into a game. It's a very exciting time. And I got a video and I was like, wow, that's great. I want to congratulate you and your son and the family and the school and the program for it. That was very exciting when I got that. Yeah, that was great. I felt really good for you. And
Appreciate everyone's support.
yeah, yeah. And there's one other thing I want to do. There was a local band recently voted the best new artist in Cleveland. And it was a red carpet event in Cleveland, Ohio, and it was made up of a bunch of local kids. Henry Lacani created the band. Mike Lacani's the drummer. And Eric Sconyers. Those are 3 Lake Catholic kids. And then Trevor Carmichael and Aaron Donovan, my daughter, went to Menor High. And Tyler Pierce is the bass player. And he went to Notre Dame Cathedral Latin. And they ended up getting Best New Artist in the Cleveland area, which was quite an accomplishment, and it was very exciting. And I just want to congratulate all those kids. Music goes a long way. Sports goes a long way, too. And that's all I want to say on that. So now we have new business. We have appointments to the boards and commissions. We need one elector of the City of Menor to serve a remainder of a 3-year term on the Community Arts Commission ending 12/31/23.
Mr. President,
Stelling.
I would like to nominate Teresa Simon to serve the remainder of a 3-year term on the Community Arts Commission ending 12/31/23.
Thank you.
Second.
Second? Any other candidates? Any other candidates? Any other candidates? Julie, call the roll.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr.
Teresa,
President?
I'm sorry, go ahead. Teresa, congratulations, and those were quite the resumes we got, actually. The next one, Mr. Kirschner.
Yes, Mr. President, I would like to nominate Nancy Mariniak for the term, or the remainder of the 3-year term on the Community Arts Commission ending 12/31/24.
Second?
Got a second? Any other? No? Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Congratulations, ladies. Persons before council, we do have a person before council, Sharon Moten. Sharon, you have 4 minutes. State your name and address for the clerk, please.
Hi, my name is Sharon Moten, 4988
No,
Wake Robin Road, Mentor, Ohio. Good evening to everybody. This is pretty much for everybody except Janet. You don't even have to listen.
Oh, okay.
I am here to discuss the practice of City Council as part of your official appointment, endorsing candidates for school board or anything else. I think you need to rethink that. I find the very act of you endorsing others indicates that you feel that your opinion is somehow superior to the general public and that you're more intelligent in being able to select who we should have on our school board. I have a lot of reasons, but those are just some of the few. In the last school board election, all but one of you, Janet was against endorsing people as an official, endorsed Maggie Cook. You were trusted by the Mentor citizens in your position to be making a very informed consent. I tend to think you don't really know what she stood for, and the real reason was more political because her husband works for the city of Mentor, and it was all politics because you're buddies with her husband.
We don't want to name people and attack people at this time.
It's not an attack, it's a statement of
Give your
fact.
comments and don't attack people, please.
It's not an attack,
Thank you
it's a
very much.
statement of fact. Your appointment was based on that criteria. For the current upcoming election, several of you are endorsing Lauren Marchaza. This is another one that I'm not sure you understand what she stands for, and if you do, then shame on you. So I'm going to let you know some of the things that these people stand for, because once you endorse them, and they do get elected because you did endorse them and help them along, you're responsible for the decisions that they make with our children after that. Your responsibility didn't end. Both of those people are for some very disturbing things. They are promoting boys at any point can come in and decide that they're a girl that day and use the locker rooms and restrooms and take away all the rights of the girls in the school. They are promoting horrific books from elementary on that I'm horrified to read these books. They're not factual, they're racist, promoting transgenderism in young children who shouldn't even be exposed to some of this. They're so young. And I won't mention the names, but I chose one of the books to read a passage so you understand what these people are putting in front of our children. These are little kids. As an adult, I don't like these things. This is a book that talks about incest, a lot of things that should not be exposed to young children. That is one of the things. It talks about all kinds of violence with children. This in particular is a father who is raping his 12-year-old daughter. The tenderness welled up in him and he sank to his knees, his eyes on the foot of his daughter. Crawling on all fours toward her, he raised his hand and caught the foot.
Your time is up.
Okay, but you need to hear this.
No, but your 4 minutes is up.
Well, I'll take back that 15 seconds where you interrupted me.
Okay.
So I'll go back to the really good part of this. The confused mixture of his memories of Pauline and the doing of a wild and forbidden thing excited him, and a bolt of desire ran down his genitals, giving it length and softening the lips of his anus. Surrounding all of this lust was a
That's it.
Yeah, I'm sure you have to be shocked, because I didn't
Your
like
time's
reading
up.
it.
Your time is up. Thank you for commenting.
Okay. All right, got your number.
Everybody gets 4 minutes. Now we have council. Who's got it? Scott, do you have the executive session? Do you have it?
I have.
Oh, okay.
Is it, we having one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Huh? We can go in anyway and see. Yeah, let's go.
I would make a motion to adjourn an executive session pursuant to revised code section 121.22 G3 to conference with legal counsel concerning pending confidential employment litigation.
Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Krieger.
Yes.
Mr. Marne.
Yes.
Mr. Blake.
Yes.
Mr. Donovan.
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling.
Yes.
Mr. Freeman.
Yes.
Mr. Kirschner.
Yes.
Go ahead.
All right.
Mr. President, I would move to go into regular council session.
Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Krieger.
Yes.
Mr. Marne.
Yes.
Mr. Blake.
Yes.
Mr. Donovan.
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling.
Yes.
Mr. Freeman.
Yes.
Mr. Kirschner.
Yes. Move to adjourn.
Second.